So today I have a different style video that I want to do. I'm going to talk about my very first solo flip and kind of show you guys everything I did wrong and all the mistakes we made and all the little things that I think you all should avoid. Let's start with the kitchen. So we knew we were going to do white shaker cabinets, but as you can see in the picture, I had the brilliant idea to not connect the back run of the kitchen and connect the base cabinets. I wanted to leave it open because I had the brilliant idea that you could put a trash can right there or a Roomba or something else. Now, that was self inflicted. I actually had advice not to do that. Just about everybody told me not to do that. But I wanted to save money. So that kind of takes me to one of the overall themes that will hurt your design is that instinct to save money. And I know when we're starting out, we don't have a lot of money. At least most of us don't. We're borrowing money, we're maxing out credit cards. I certainly was. And so saving $200 is a big deal. But in the context of the flip and what you're hoping to sell it for, $200 is very little. $500 is very little. And we were hoping to sell for 300,000. So when you put it in a perspective like that, a couple $100 to connect the back run of your kitchen base cabinets, it's you have to do it. So guys, first thing I would say, don't leave a gap on your base cabinets. It's okay to have a couple wall cabinets missing. You can do shelving, or you might have a window like we did, but you have to connect your base cabinets. The second thing you guys will notice here is we didn't take the cabinets all the way to the ceiling. And I have gotten more than enough complaints that we go to the ceiling every single time. It's not always easy to do. It is easier to leave a little gap because sometimes the framing of your ceiling and the sheetrock, it's not perfectly level, but 9 times out of 10, it is and it works fine. And when it isn't, there's a lot you can do to help it. And so my other piece of advice would be take your cabinets to the ceiling. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to do crown molding. Some people might not like that. You guys might not like that. I always do it, but at least put your cabinets to the ceiling because what you end up doing, you create a dust trap that's extremely hard to clean and bugs and whatever else can get in there. And it's just a nightmare, guys. So that would probably be the second thing I would suggest based on this picture. And the third thing is the tile behind the peninsula. Now, that's a great tile at a luxury hotel. I've seen some hotels where I've actually seen them use that on the riser for their steps leading to their upstairs, and some fancy restaurants and whatever else. But it's very specific, and that's another thing you guys will see as we go through. You want to use beautiful tiles, high end tiles, but you don't want to use pattern tiles in the middle of your house because unfortunately there's no way to avoid it. Now, it's okay to put a pattern tile maybe on the front of an outdoor grill area or maybe as a one-off in a bathroom because it's kind of tucked away, or use it as an accent wall in a different part of the house. But this was in the middle of the house. It's completely unavoidable. It's the first thing you guys see as you walk in, and it's right there in your face. So it's okay to use the pattern tile. It's a beautiful tile, but you have to use it tastefully. In the middle of your house is probably not the right spot for it. So the next thing in this photo is we don't have a fridge. Now, we were just coming out of that crazy run up in 2021 where prices just skyrocketed. They were just starting to increase interest rates, and that's when things started to fall off a cliff in terms of demand from buyers. And so we could kind of get away back then, guys, with not doing a fridge. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So if you don't put a fridge in your house, buyers are going to come in and they're not going to be happy. And that leads me to another thing. Make sure you put a good fridge in your house because whatever appliances you have, they're going to go through an inspection. And if it's not working and you bought a used fridge off Facebook Marketplace, you're going to get burned because unfortunately you can't take that back. And now you got to fix whatever's wrong. There's probably not a warranty. So, guys, if you do put used appliances in your house, make sure it's from somebody you trust and make sure they give you a warranty, because don't do what I did and either A, leave it absent, or B, put cheap fridges in, because you're going to get burned. So now we just put new stuff in our kitchens and we don't have to go back twice. Even when you're starting out, guys, you don't want that headache, because there's a story in this house, and that is our first contract. It fell through, and this was a very slow flip. It was in Hudson, Florida. It's not exactly the most coveted part of town. Buyers generally that move out there, they're first time home buyers, or they're relocating from out of state, and they just happen to be looking as you hit the market. But if your house shows so poorly or it has missing appliances, you're probably going to lose that contract during their inspection period. And unfortunately, we did. And it's probably one of my top 5 most traumatic events, because I was just starting out. And when I got that deal, I was already counting that money, I was counting that profit. And we got through inspection and it was not good. Next part of the house I want to talk about is the primary bath. So in this room, I really just did what I liked. And I had absolutely zero interior design acumen or experience. I was shooting from the hip, guys. I'd walk in the tile store, I'd have kind of an idea of what I wanted to do, and I just bought whatever I thought would look good and put it together. And then if I had an idea, I just went with it. And so what you guys are looking at there are 2 half walls. We left the middle open, and then we did a staggered vertical white subway. And to be honest with you guys, it's probably the ugliest primary bath I've ever done. When I did it, I was really happy with it. I thought it came out great. And as I look back, I'm surprised this house sold at all. I'm surprised I still don't own it and had to turn it into a long-term rental, because to me personally, the green in front of the half walls, the tiling work isn't very good. The white tile, the white hexagon tile on the floor, it dirty so easy. And then when you mix in the gold trim, again, it kind of looks like a restaurant bathroom, and that's not what you want in your house. You want something that's elegant, timeless, warm, and inviting. If I could do this bathroom all over again, the first thing I would have changed is I wouldn't have built the second half wall. I would have left that open and I would have glassed the entire thing. Now, my glass budget was so low that we decided, hey, if we do a second wall, half wall, on the right side, we can just put 2 panels and leave the middle open. And so you can kind of see that theme of trying to save money influenced the design of this bathroom. And that is not how you want to do things, guys. That is how you will fail at flipping homes, is when your design is influenced by saving money. It sucks. I know it sucks. Trust me. I'm going through my history here showing you I succumbed to that instinct very badly. And I'm just begging you guys, don't do that. Even if it feels like you're going to blow your budget completely out of the water, just list your house 10 grand higher. Okay. You'll have an easier time finding a buyer with a 10 grand higher list price than you will with all the shortcuts you would take by saving 10 grand. I promise you that. Going the extra mile, or really in some cases, just doing things how they should be done in the first place, will get you that extra 10 grand, or maybe 5 grand. You split the difference and you walk away a winner, and you got a buyer right away and a contract right away. And you didn't have to sweat on the market wondering, oh, did all those corners I cut, did they cost me a buyer? Is that why my home isn't selling? Because we all know the homes sell for 2 reasons. They sell for the condition of the house or the price. And so we all want to get that top dollar, but sometimes we don't want to spend the money that it takes to get it. and you might not have renovated enough to get that top dollar. And then finally, I would have provided a little warmth. What does it mean, warmth? Okay. For me, white is sterile. We warmed it up in a way with the green accent walls, but that kind of comes back, that kind of brings me back to that flower pattern tile in the middle of the house where it's very specific. And there's nothing wrong with doing green in a bathroom, but if you're going to do it, be intentional with it. Don't paint something green and call it a day. That's just weird. If you're going to do green, do a green shower tile or something that's intentional. You want it to look like that. It shows confidence in your design. I think for us, we painted it green because we wanted to add a little character, but we were scared to go all the way with it. And one thing you're missing if you're ever going to do greens in a bathroom is you got to do browns with it, because that's what it means to warm up a space, is to do some kind of beige or some kind of brown. It kind of just brings a little bit of life to the space. And so for us, we did everything kind of backwards. We were influenced by saving money. The workmanship and quality was poor. Our tile choices were poor. And I think I would have even done a larger soap niche in the middle. It's so small. I don't know what I was thinking here. So the next room is the other bathroom, the hall bathroom. This house had 2 bathrooms, single story, open concept. It's nothing really remarkable to talk about. So we're really just focusing on the design, the interior design of the house for this video. So the other bathroom, the hall bathroom, this photo is perfect. I'm sure everybody is noticing something's wrong. Your brains are probably hurting right now. Mine's hurting just looking at this. But we had a mistake. They didn't put the vanity light in center with the sink. And the reason for that is because they put the rough-in box before we put the sink cabinet. So one tip I can give you guys to avoiding all that: don't put your boxes, don't drill your holes for your lights until all of your construction is just about done. The reason for that is a lot of the placement of your lighting, it's going to depend on where your vanity cabinets are, where your kitchen cabinets are, how much stone you have, where the stone is. In this case, our sink and our sink base was a certain size. Communication didn't happen the way it should have, and so the guys, they had already put the light. Now that can be fixed, but I was new, and this is the first time I had worked with this crew. It was also the last, but I was afraid to speak up, and it's a lot of work to move a box like that. It's a lot of work, especially when they're done and you're excited to list the house and it's already just about cleaned up. The last thing you want to do is you don't want to go in there and start drilling into a wall again and making a mess. So we came up with the idea to just move the mirror off center in line with the light, and hopefully people wouldn't notice. They noticed. In this case, these are what I call non-negotiable mistakes. The correct solution here wasn't to move the mirror in center with the light. It was to put the light in the correct spot. Even though it's a lot of work, don't be scared to go back to your guys and have them redo shit, because it's not their money that's affected at the end. It's your money. My money was affected. My stress levels were through the roof. And these are the little things that buyers walk in, and sometimes it just gives the wrong impression. And if you screw up on these little things, you're going to leave buyers with a bunch of questions of what else did they screw up on that I can't see. So I'm going to show you the same bathroom, but from a different photo. One thing that immediately stands out to me about this are the penny tiles. And I love penny tiles, but they are not easy to get right. If you don't line your sheets up correctly, you're going to see where every sheet doesn't line up correctly, because your grout area and your spacing is going to be completely screwed up. So moral of the story is, if you're going to use penny tiles, you got to communicate to your tiler. Make sure it's perfect. Do not rush throwing sheets down, because it'll look okay before it's grouted. And then when you go to grout it and then you photograph it, and especially when you photograph it, it's going to look terrible. Of course, the other thing that stands out in this bathroom is the soap niche. And we actually have two. So to my credit, I at least put two. But could that have been any smaller? I think it would maybe hold one thing of soap, maybe those 3-in-1s or 4-in-1s. Probably doesn't fit in there, sadly. I don't think one of my soap bottles is going to fit in there. And so now what? So you really just kind of created something that's leaving people scratching their heads, or when buyers see it, they're thinking, who the heck designed this? And the answer is you did. So don't be like me in this particular house. Give people space. If you're going to do something, do it right. We ended up, myself and some family, we ended up actually doing the cleaning in the house ourselves. And guys, I was probably in this house for a week straight, getting this house clean on my hands and knees. I brought my soap bucket, I brought my scrapers, I brought all my cleaning supplies, my microfiber towels, and I was in this house for about 4 to 5 days, just cleaning all the windows and grout haze and extra grout and gunk all the floors, and all that to avoid a $300 cleaning fee. I really don't know what I was thinking on that one. So that kind of brings me to the last picture here, guys. And this is already the same space that you saw. It's just from a kind of more zoomed out angle. And so the reason I want to show you guys this space is because of the recessed lighting. And there is such a thing as too much light. We could have helped ourselves a little bit by balancing these lights out with a ceiling fan in the middle of the room. We didn't stage the house, so really there's nothing to define that big common area, and we helped ourselves zero in that regard. Also, look closely, the lights are not in line. And so not only did we not do a ceiling fan, maybe we did too many lights. In this case, we did the 6-inch recessed LED lights that should have been 4 inches. When you have 8-foot ceilings, guys, you only need 4-inch. And they'll actually tell you that on the box. They'll tell you how much light a 4-inch LED will cover from an 8-foot ceiling, and they'll recommend what size light from what ceiling height will work. And in this particular case, we had 8-foot ceilings, but we still did the 6-inch recessed LEDs. And then the guys didn't use a laser level. They eyeballed it. And it just is immediately noticeable. It's the first thing you see when you walk in the house. And if you're looking up, you're going to see a row of lights, and then one of them is just out of place. And it just, again, it just communicates that maybe you screwed up somewhere else. And there's nothing wrong with that line of thinking. You might not have, but that doesn't matter. It's the perception. The perception is the reality to a buyer, because it's all they know. It's all they can see until they get a home inspector in there. And if you're lucky, they'll overlook those cosmetic issues and write an offer and then pay a home inspector and go through that process to maybe look deeper into the house and see if there actually is any serious big ticket items that might rear their head after they purchase your home, and go down that path. That's if you're lucky when you make these mistakes. But the best thing to do is just not make the mistakes at all. So just to recap some of the major points, biggest thing is don't let your design be influenced by saving money. In the end, it's better to price the house 5 to 10 grand higher and just bite the bullet and spend the extra money, because you have a better chance. And that's all we're doing here, guys. We're playing the odds. Is you have a better chance of selling your home for that price that you want, that ARV that you've been dreaming about the entire time you're renovating and contemplating and checking the market. You have a better chance of hitting that price if you just spend the extra money and don't let your design crumble under saving a couple $100 here or there. The second thing is, make sure your work is quality. Don't be afraid to have your workers, your contractor, your tilers come back and fix mistakes, because ultimately they're going to get paid and walk away, and they're going to sleep like a baby at night while you're suffering from their mistakes while your home sits on the market. So just let them know. And if they're good workers, they'll understand that their mistakes impact your bottom line. And maybe so much so that you now can't hire them anymore because you're out of business. So it benefits everybody to just make sure your house is done properly and all the little punch out items are done. The last flip I did, episode 2, we had a week of blue tape. Every day for 1 week, I went around with a roll of blue tape and they would complete all the items. I'd come back the next day and I would look for more and I'd find it. And I would look in the corners. That's the best thing I can tell you guys. Look in every door jamb in every corner and make sure they're perfect. Make sure dirt and grime and paint, or maybe when your house was mopped, all the dirt kind of flowed into the corner and then it dried there. Those corners of your home, that's where buyers are looking. I'm going to tell you that right now. The corners at the top of the wall and the ceiling and the wall, and then the corners in the door jambs and under the cabinets, that's where buyers are looking, guys. And if you get those right and they're clean and your lines are clean, your paint lines are clean, your house is going to sell. And then lastly, I would say just make sure to be intentional about your design. And don't do pattern tile in the middle of your house. For the love of all that is holy, it's great. I please do pattern tiles anywhere else you want, but don't put it in the middle of the house because you can't shut a door on that. So just be intentional about your design. Make sure that you're looking at other people's work. You're looking at the work that has sold. And if you are going to do something bold, make sure you go all in with it, like the green tile in the bathroom that we didn't do because we were scared to do it. So we painted the walls green. Don't ever do that. If you're going to do green, you want green, either bring some plants in the room or just go all out with it, and good luck. Good luck with it. But at least it projects confidence to your buyers and it doesn't show that you were chickening out and gave them the option to maybe paint it something else. That's not going to fly. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed this look back. This is a little bit painful for me. I'm bringing up some PTSD from my stumbling in my early career, and a lot of that has motivated me, and is why I try as hard as I do, is because I've lived these mistakes, and I hope that by me sharing it with you guys, that you guys don't have to live it like I did.